Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck.
Good morning and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I got the Indian here. I got old Blue Eyes.
That's right.
And it's the Hard Luck Show. You know what's up.
Right.
Is that right?
That's
if you don't
right.
know us by now, if you don't know who we are by now.
If you don't know who we are by now, go on to YouTube. Our YouTube channel, you're going to be able to see who the fuck we are right now because our YouTube is up.
That's right.
And we're getting comments already. People appreciate it. Sean, you said in your in the thread.
I'm getting alerts on my phone, so I'm responding to them.
You are. And what are they saying?
They're saying, hey, you guys are finally on YouTube. Thank you.
Right.
It only took 4 years.
Yeah.
Fucking YouTube. We're on this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry for the wait.
But it was worth it.
Recurring guest today.
Right. Scion of the show.
Motherfucking my homeboy from Santa Monica. Alonzo in the house. Alonzito.
Zo.
What up, Zo?
What up, home team? How's everybody doing
Home
tonight?
team right
team.
here, dog.
Yeah.
Right here, bro. Fucking, if you guys don't know who Alonzo is, you need to go and peep out some prior episodes.
Right.
Man, reigning from the city of Santa Monica.
One of the one of the dopest interviews when we went to the Cookies event. Remember we did the shows from there?
Baked, brother.
Smash!
Bro.
Yeah,
Hey,
bro.
Tommy, yeah.
You were annihilated.
Dunzo.
Fucking straight,
Could not
professional
open my eyes at
fucking
all.
athlete.
Oh, for
The
real.
fucking dude came out of high school and went to the fucking pros.
Right.
Pro
Junior
baseball
college,
player.
but I
junior
appreciate-
college,
yeah.
and then on up.
Then on up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking works with fucking special needs kids. Fucking ace baseball coach. He just does it all.
Right.
He's fucking doing all sorts of shit, man.
Cougars.
In the mix.
Right.
Slaying them.
Just a talented
Slaying
dude.
Oh,
Right.
So it's been a minute since you checked in. Came in and let us know what's going on with you,
right.
brother. I know that we were discussing at points in time and working on, man, you're deep in a lot of I want to say alternative medicines in athletics. Is that the right word to say? Or because you stand on something, bro, and we talk a lot about it.
Well, I mean, like when it comes to sports, you know that old adage of like 10% physical, 90% mental. That couldn't reign true, or that couldn't reign more true. For me personally, the mental was like literally the reason why shit didn't really even like come to fruition the way that
I remember.
I thought it was gonna happen, you know. But you know, currently, right now, in the headspace that I'm in, the position in life that I'm in, and kind of like just this rebirth that I've gone through in like the past like year, 8 months to like a year. I'm actually in the process of, you know, getting my arm ready to go to some tryouts and and try and slang the rock a little bit again.
What?
You know?
Is that
right?
Yeah.
Is
Boys
that
are
what's
trying to make
happening?
moves,
Let me ask you
yeah.
a question. Let me ask you what when you start getting the arm ready again. What's involved in that? What do you do?
It's super simple. At the end of the day, man, you just have to stay dedicated to throwing every day. Not getting upset, not getting frustrated. Like, you know, I haven't played a professional game or thrown seriously in probably like 2.5 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So not getting frustrated, and, you know, maybe some days I just don't feel it at all. You know, maybe I don't feel my arm. Maybe the ball is just coming out like shit. Maybe there's nothing behind it, you know, but just understanding that shit is a process. It takes time.
Right.
But at least for me, just because I've been doing this for so long, it's kind of like riding a bike. I don't feel like I need a whole bunch of time to get ready. But by the grace of God, like I've never had like any arm injuries,
Right.
nothing with the shoulder, elbow, anything like that. Shit, currently right now, I'd probably say like I'm in the best like physical shape that I've been in.
Right.
Like I said earlier, definitely the best mental space that I've ever been in my life. And honestly, like just watching games and just hearing certain names, like before I would feel some type of way, just because, you know, as a competitor, you look at other people and you're just like, damn, like if that person did it, like, you know, I didn't have no excuse to not make it happen.
Right.
But now it's just, I don't know, like it just, shit really just got reignited, like deep inside, to where I'm just like, fuck it, like I'm gonna just go and make it happen. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, at least I can say like I tried to scratch that last itch, you know?
Right.
Man, do you hear what's going on here, bro?
I not only hear it, but I see it on his face.
I know.
It's like infectious.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like I feel
absolutely.
ready to go fucking pitch hearing him talk.
But it's like, let's draw this back a minute, though.
Yeah.
Let's be really clear here, like with what you're saying, Zo. I mean, you opened it up by like, I was young and there's all this pressure. And it's like,
Right.
you know, my mind is getting in the way. Like if your mind's fucked up, then your body follows that direction. And there's this and that. My mental, that kind of got in your way from just doing what you love to do. And so a break from it, some time and distance from it, some maybe better understandings in life and of life.
Right.
Maybe a change in perception. Maybe a change inside of you. Maybe mixed in with some maturity.
Maybe.
Maybe a little bit of life.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute. Man, what if I'm able to set all that stuff aside and just kind of step into something, regardless of the outcomes, and live my truths, you know? It sounds like that's kind of in a way where is that right or wrong?
I mean, you know, you listed off a good amount of things that I could say definitely resonate with kind of like the process that I've gone through up until this point. One of the biggest things and one of the most freeing things that in like in an ironic way, being released from baseball, being released from multiple teams, being told like your dream is over. Mm-hmm. That shit really gave me like a new spark at life, because it's like, if I already died, what the fuck do I got to worry about? You know, like I used to put so much pressure on myself, and it used to be so loaded to where it was either baseball or bust. I never felt, at the time, I never felt that I could do anything else, just because I had invested so much time. I'd made so many sacrifices. I missed out on so many different experiences growing up for this dream. And it was really like all or nothing. And it was to the point where, you know, every pitch I'm like living and dying on that mound, you know? So people are seeing either somebody who's pitching well, somebody who's struggling, but inside it's just like, this is going to be the pitch that makes it happen, or damn, now you're not going to make it. Where I am now, like I said, I'm not worried about that shit. Like, I know that I'm more than capable and more than able to do other shit. I mean, you know, I work with autistic kids. You know, that was something I never thought that I would do. I've given pitching lessons. I've run camps. I've even coached teams, you know, but never with kids on the spectrum. So like, you know, that's one thing. After this baseball thing, I started doing some photo shoots with like cookies and Supermax and stuff like that. Shit, I'm like in the process of potentially like being partners in like a new bar, a new sports bar in my hometown. You know what I mean? I've worked with at-risk juveniles like in my city, you know. So it's like the resume. Oh, and I'm a part of a nonprofit that's helping high school student athletes navigate through this new NIL world in college sports, where athletes are starting to be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. So with all of that stuff, like, I've been able to add to my resume and show like my versatility, you know? And a lot of that stuff really came from baseball.
Right.
Like in a roundabout way.
Of course.
All that shit really got me prepared for it. You know what I mean? Being able to just be accountable, number one. I feel like accountability is one thing that a lot of people don't really talk about.
No.
But just being accountable, showing up when you say you're going to show up, and being consistent with that shit. That right there will open doors that talent really might not always get you right there. You know, it might put you in the
100%.
front, but if you're not showing up and doing the shit day in and day out, you know, next in line type
phenomenal skill versus phenomenal will.
deal. Yeah, straight up.
Well, so what was the cause of this rejuvenation, this regeneration?
Man, I was the cause.
Right.
I was the cause. I really took like pride in myself, and not like in an egotistical way, not in like I have like an air about me, or like I'm walking with my head up, but really kind of just stepping into who I was, you know, who I saw in the mirror wasn't what everybody else saw. And I had to really check myself at that moment and be like, man, why are these people saying these good things about me? Why do people see me doing certain things, but I don't see that in myself?
Why was that?
Just lack of confidence, being unsure of like the future, focusing too much into the future instead of like living right now, and focusing on problems as opposed to like finding solutions to those problems, whatever the fuck they may be.
Right.
And then really like I didn't really have like a routine of stuff. Like I would, like I go to the gym like religiously now.
Right.
Like that's like my church. You know what I mean? Like I go there, I blow off steam. It obviously like clears my mind, helps my body, you know, function the way that it's supposed to function. And once I started doing that and waking up at 4 a.m. and going to the gym and doing that type of shit, like everything else started to not only come together, but I was able to start structuring shit out. Cause I mean, when you wake up that early in the morning and you start your day and you knock out the quote unquote hardest part, you know, which is working out. A lot of people don't like going to do that.
Right.
It makes everything else easy.
Yeah, you have the whole day to yourself. Yeah. And I mean, if you are comfortable with just like sitting and not doing anything, then, you know, hats off to you. But for me, like, it got like the juices and it got like the gears rolling for me to be like, all right, now it's time for me to find things to occupy this time, productive things, you know, things that are going to help me not only in the present, but set like a foundation for what I want to do and who I want to be in the future. And shit, man, like things just started coming together. Like,
was there someone instrumental that helped you see that a routine would be something that might stabilize the mental and the emotional and the spiritual for you?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple people. I mean, you know, I talked to Lucky a lot.
Right.
He's been somebody who's been a real good mentor to me and for me, someone that I've been able to rely upon, someone that I could call at whatever time of the day. If I just need to bounce ideas off or just get shit off of my chest, this is somebody who has gone through the ringer, you know what I mean, and came out fucking unscathed. And that type of shit to me, like, it allows me to be more vulnerable because I know that they understand where I'm coming from, you know?
Big Lux, what does it feel like to hear Zo say that? To say, like, I asked him who's instrumental. I really didn't have any idea that it was not some kind of whatever. And he says, Big Lux. I mean, what do you feel in relation to hearing a young man say that? It's kind of a mentor role or a friend role? Or how would you describe how that makes you feel?
Well, I'm gonna say that I'm flattered by it, and I want to say that, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I think Zo has the pedigree of that in him from baseball, like you said,
right?
You know, long before me and him were talking. But the way he's breaking it down makes all the sense in the world, because I feel like if you commit to the gym and you commit to the diet and you start really living that, if nothing else in life is going on, you've got a project that you're working on. And if that project starts to change, you start to change you through your action. That changes the way you feel about yourself. It changes the ways people treat you. You start to see results, and you start to get this concept of like, fuck, I have power. Like, you've regained power.
That's
a sense
true.
of power.
Yeah.
I have the ability. If I can do this to me through diet and commitment and waking up, that, well, I can do this in business. I can do this. Now all of a sudden you get this feeling that you have control back.
Right.
And so I'm constantly sending him, my son, and a couple other people. I'm constantly sending these videos and clips and things that kind of promote that you have the power. If you get up and you're willing, you can change and do anything. And I feel like it feels good for him because he broke it down in a way that you can't say it unless you've experienced it.
Right.
You know? And I feel like that's why when people say, like, you want your life to get better, start going to the gym. Right? It really is, bro. Like, it begins there. And it's so much of it is what he's talking about is about routine. Like, if you can find a morning routine, whatever it might be, and you consistently pour into, you're going to change, man. And like, I've watched him change physically. I've watched him get into the game of like, he had a plan to go after something and he went after it. I saw it start changing, and that's going to affect your life. If you start changing it to this degree, it's not going to do anything but grow. And you become fucking accountable to yourself, bro. And when you start becoming accountable to yourself, you can't turn away from relationship. You can't turn away from career. You can't turn away from spiritual. Like, you start to have to be accountable for all of it. Does that make sense? I don't even know if what I'm saying makes sense to anybody. I know it makes sense to you.
Oh, Blue
I know that
Eyes?
you guys make sense.
Oh, Blue Eyes, does that make sense? Or what? I saw you nodding, so
Absolutely.
join the conversation, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
what-
I love having a routine, man. It's something that you can control.
Yes.
And we had a conversation about a guy I wanted to bring on, and this guy that I know, he's like one of these. He trains these like CEOs or whatever. He's
He's an executive coach. This is the kind of guy that coaches people who are already fucking executives, right? So the first question out the box is like, why would an executive need a coach? Go ahead.
So this guy's saying that when he was in his early 20s, he stopped biting his nails. And he thought, like, oh, now that I have that power, like, I know I could change anything. Like, I
Right.
could change something about myself.
Yes.
And it starts with something that it's hard to do.
Yeah, I
Right.
did it. I did that
But
shit.
once you have that power, then you can relate it to these other things.
It's exactly what I feel this is about. You know, I get off on like the whole like calorie food approach. Like, I get off on like that shit. And when I'm mixing it in with working out, then you start to see real results, right?
Right.
And that stuff, and I started figuring I could start applying that. But it's my morning routine. My workouts later. My morning routine is like the meditation, this
Right.
whole thing now. But it's still, bro, that thing gets larger and it affects my workout. And then I started feeling like a man. Like, a man gets up, a man does this. A real man does this. And a real man ain't letting this, and this slide. A real man's being accountable on all levels. That's what I feel like a man is. I mean, that's what I find in guys like you, bro, you know, and in different people that I look up to. I'm like, does it all, man. He's taking care of his physical, his diet, his family, his career. He's going hard after all of it because he knows he can. That's what you do. You don't know emotion about when you get up. Oh, I don't like it. Like, if you can get that checked, and you can just get up and produce. I look at it as like a man. That's what you do. And I feel like Alonzo has come from kind of like this, like, I'm doing, and kind of a joke, and to like change into this dude that's like seriously laying out his life and getting after it. I'm seeing the same thing happen with my son.
Right. And you know, it's interesting.
And a couple other guys that are kind of remotely
Yeah.
around us. They're making physical change, and that's like the first change you can see.
Right.
If you have control over physical, you know how big that is. If you can physically change yourself, you're like, well, dude, then there's nothing I can't change.
It's interesting because I work with somebody who will remain nameless. And there are so many permutations to this person's ability to not close the loop. So, like you're talking about putting in a routine, right? And this person, when I circle back to like, all right, what are you committed to? Like, let's just stop the fucking game. What are you?
Right.
It's clear, right? It comes back to me clear. I'm committed to this, and this is what I'm going to do. Circle back, didn't do it. And instead of what I find, and maybe you guys know people like this, and I want to know from your experiences too, Zo, like, how do you get out of that mental trap of not doing it, then shame spiraling into a case of the fuck it's because you didn't do it, and yet also maintain like, no, there is some kind of heat to you didn't do it. And there isn't a, man, I mean, I've been in so many fucking motivational fucking blah, blah, blahs that at the end of the day, there's not a secret. This one guy said this thing to me and it's stuck with me ever since. Winners win, losers lose. Right? Like, it's as simple as that.
Here, when you cut it all back, it really is, dude.
Right. But a lot of times when I deal with this individual I try to help, they go into the shame spiral, and then it becomes this complex problem that we got to wear out. And it's like,
Right.
right.
Now you got to unwind this whole thing.
I don't
Right,
anymore.
you don't, right.
I just like, look, winners win, losers lose. When you get tired of seeing value in losing, you'll give it up. Until then, what can I tell you? Zo, right? What does it mean for you to even step into this arena in terms of where you've been spiritually? Because I also feel like we talked outside 7-Eleven, right? And you were asking
Yeah, it was
me
like
about
a gas station. Yeah.
vegan shit and all this other kind of stuff and some Indian shit, right? So I feel like also there's a spiritual thing going on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What is that? Speak on that.
Man, well, I want to touch on this before I answer, but like, feelings are fickle.
Boy, you said it.
Feelings are fickle. Shit is just in the moment, but people will take their feelings in a moment and let that shit fuck up their whole entire day. Then that day turns into the next day, and then they wasted a whole fucking month, you know, and they're feeling bad for themselves. So like, I've just learned to just experience those feelings as they are. I'll even go and I'll set a fucking timer on my phone, like
Right.
Good
to
shit.
give myself like, what if I'm pissed, happy, sad, whatever, to do that. And then once that timer goes off, it's like, all right, we're done with that.
That's like that saying, you got 5 minutes to fucking cry and be a bitch about
Yeah,
it. And then let's
and
get
then
moving.
fucking let's
right.
let's
Yeah,
make
I love
shit
that.
fucking
And dude,
happen.
I won't talk about what it is, but I had an episode in the law that happened to me today where, so people, like, I talk a big game and I do a lot of good shit, but don't make no mistake. There's multiple points in my time, right, where there's anger, or I'm pissed off about this one thing, or it didn't go through, right? And it's not just crying. I had to give myself 5 minutes to be fucking pissed and want to tear everything that's in front of me down. But I don't do it because, like you said, emotions are fickle.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, shit's come and go. It's crazy because at the end of the day, like, I was caught in that cycle of just having shit snowball.
Right.
I'd be in the fuck-its, but like, just the difference, like, with me and maybe like other people, I've always had like a fucking drill sergeant in my head.
Me too.
Like,
Welcome.
Yeah,
We
brother.
speak your
Hell
name,
yeah, bro.
Alonzo.
all that. Yeah, you know, like, wake up, you gotta do this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, brother.
so like,
Committee.
yeah, and I've gotten really close with that drill sergeant, and we have a good understanding. There's there's a clip that I've seen like a lot of Kobe where he's just like, man, you know, like, I'll set a plan out in the summer, and once I sign that contract with myself, like that's it. Like the deal's been made. So even on days where like I'm not feeling hot, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to be around certain people, I don't want to be around people, period. In my head, like I'll just say like the deal has been made, and then it's just like, all right, it's time to fucking go and do it. Now, as far as spirituality, you know, like I've always believed in God. I'm not the most pious of person. I couldn't sit here and recite, you know, any scriptures from the Bible or anything like that.
Right.
And, you know, God forgive me, I don't really even go to church like that for my own personal reasons. I think those people are crooks in themselves, but that's a whole different conversation.
Preach.
Man,
Come on.
my spirituality, dude, has really just, like, I found, I guess I want to say, like, I found God within myself. Like,
Yeah,
like,
you
Well,
like,
that sounds
like
familiar.
Yeah,
like a
you
new
did.
God, you know?
Right.
And I'm not saying that to say, like, I'm a God. Like,
Oh, you are.
I don't,
Right. I mean,
Oh, you
kinda.
are.
I don't want to get
Those
that.
cougar
I know,
stories,
I hear
those
that.
That
cougar
twisted.
stories you
No,
told
no,
sound
no.
pretty godlike.
He's a-
No, but it's man, it's the further that I decided to go deeper within myself, the more uncomfortable I felt reaching places that like I didn't even realize I had like put barriers and blocks all around. The more obviously it released that, but just like my train of thought started getting more clear.
Right.
Shit that wasn't like serving me anymore was removing itself without even me having to fucking
Right.
do anything.
Right.
Like I said, things kind of just like they snowballed, but not the snowball to where like it leads to like a fucking avalanche. Like this was like a reverse snowball effect. Like
It
this
is.
shit took me to the top of the fucking mountain.
Right.
Like there were so many amazing opportunities and people along the way that I got to meet. And at the end of the day, I could sit here and say, oh man, it's hard work, it's dedication, it's all that stuff. But like, bro, like it was me. Like that shit was me. The dedication, the belief in myself, being able to talk to people, and then, you know, obviously like accountability, like that shit was just all me. And once I started to see that shit happen, how I saw myself in the mirror started to change. Like I started really loving myself. I mean, you know, I've always been a tall person. I've never, you know, really been like obese or overweight or any reason to like not show off my body, but I was so self-conscious of what the outside world will perceive, like what people will think, oh, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's that. I said fuck all that at this point. And I mean, fuck, like I love my body. Like I love myself. I love my face. I love my voice. Like just everything that I maybe had taken for granted or didn't really appreciate the gift that God had given me, I fucking just complete 180. Like I've completely stepped into it. And I mean, man, like I said, like I'm definitely reaping the benefits, you know, like I'm still patient. There's still some things that have to play out. And, you know, there are certain things that like I'm protecting just so I don't have like any negative energy come in
Sure.
and fucking take the soul out of that and implant into that and take out the juice and all the good shit that's going on with that. But man, like my spiritual journey was just like finding myself, you know, like
Big Lux, when you hear such almost pure self-love, right? I mean, I personally, when he's saying that, I'm asking myself, like, do I have that level of self? I got the drill sergeant for sure.
Sure.
But do I have that level of self-acceptance and self-love? And I think I might not have it at the level that Zo does yet. And I'm not saying it as an envy thing. I'm just talking about true self-assessment. What about you?
I think that I've just recently in some time started to get glimpses of that.
Right.
I think I've always lived in this way, kind of how he's talking. And I think maybe over the last 3 years, I've had glimpses and moments of where
Right.
I start to look at myself and like, dude, you're a good fucking dude, bro. Like you done a lot of fucking good. Like, you don't have to try and be cool, bro.
Right.
You know, you don't have to make up any story. Not that I did. I didn't make up. You are that, and I'm a good dude, and like lots of people want me around. There's a reason for that, or the reason I've had friends for long periods of time is because I'm fucking consistent in some things, you know.
Right.
And I started to leave the judgments behind and start accepting who I was and looking at myself and kind of like and getting glimpses of like, man, you're a good motherfucker. Like, I'd actually like to be friends. I would pick you as a friend if I was somebody else.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not stuck with this guy I don't want to be. Like the reverse. Like, I'm kind of stuck. Like, I started feeling like, dude, I wouldn't want to be anybody else but me.
Yeah.
Started getting those types of thoughts.
Yes.
I'm glad that everything that I'm glad that I'm me and not anybody else, bro.
Right.
You know? So I've had, and I think that at times, like, life and different things won't go my way, or I'll hear something, and for a moment I'll kind of get knocked off that footing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'll start believing the outside, the lie, you know, and start forgetting the truth. So I do like myself. I do believe myself way more today. And I get through I've been in some spaces like Zo's talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to consistently stay there. I go in and out, but definitely understand what he's saying, because I've had moments where I was like, fuck, this whole time I've been running from me, when really I should be embracing me.
I mean, I feel that.
But I would imagine from the little bit that I've had, it can change everything in you.
Oh, Blue Eyes, what about you? Zoe's saying a certain level of self-love and self-acceptance. Are you there?
Oh, definitely not.
Right.
For sure.
You gotta love the honesty. That's where
No,
it
no,
starts.
no. I mean, what do you think? I mean, honestly, what's your reaction to hearing all of this? I'm with you. I'm still getting to know, like, you know where I get confused a little bit? Is I'm not an easy guy to be around in a lot of ways. I'm really not. I'm thinking about things. I'm asking questions maybe that I shouldn't ask. I'm looking at things a certain way. I'm very judgmental in certain ways. Blah, 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 right? But so it's not necessarily likable, right? And I struggle with, but that's my mind piece. That really is how I feel, or that really is how I think. It's good for certain things. It's not good for everything. So is it self-love if I say, you know what, that's just what you do, that's who you are, and accept it and just understand. Sometimes it's going to rub people the wrong way. Sometimes it's going to be the thing that brings the right solution to something. What do you think, Zoe, when you hear that? Because I sometimes go back and forth, like, maybe I should be a little softer on the outside.
I mean, I feel the same. I feel the same fucking way. There are times where I can be judgmental. I know that I could be moody. My interest or intrigue in a conversation can switch very quickly.
Right.
And I'm not great at putting on like a poker face. Like, people will know that like I'm annoyed or like I'm not buying anything that you're selling right now. But honestly, like if what you're doing isn't, or maybe some of the traits that maybe you were either born with or just developed along the way and didn't even know that you developed them, as long as that shit's not like destructive to people, you're not hating, you're not, blocking anybody from getting their blessings or getting theirs, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, not everybody's for everybody.
Right.
Like, you could be the greatest, nicest person in the world, and like all of us could agree on like one person being absolutely great, and the pod next door could be talking shit about that exact same person. You
could almost guarantee that's happening.
Oh, for sure, 100%. And honestly, like from what I've kind of started to notice, like a lot of people that do dislike certain people that consensus would say like are pretty decent human beings, a lot of that shit just comes out of envy, man. A lot of people are really scared to be themselves. A lot of people, run from themselves, and when they see somebody being themselves 100% unapologetically, and then people like that shit, oh man, it fucking crushes them inside.
For sure.
You know, like, and they might not, chances are they're not gonna say it to your face.
Because that person is working double overtime to be liked, and they're only liked half as much
Man, it's,
as that other person.
you can tell, like, genuineness is, that shit's like a fucking Rolls Royce, dude. Like, when you see it, like, you know, like, oh, that this is different right here. Like, this,
Right.
there's no faking the funk. There's no extras put on top of nothing. Like, those are the people where you just look and you're like, damn, you know, like, I aspire to not be you, because you always want to be yourself, but you just look at them and you're just like, damn, like, if I could get right there.
Admiration.
You know, yeah, exactly. Admiration. That's the perfect word. That's the perfect word for it. I feel like everybody needs to have a person that they, you know, in some way like look up to, or they're just like, man, like, if I could take this part of this person and figure out a way to implement that shit into my life and into my personality, man, they could, you know, change. It could change a whole bunch of shit. And for some people, it's, you know, it's how they view themselves. It's what they tell themselves every day. It's how they react to when traffic fucking starts to build up on the freeway and they're 15 minutes away from work, but they got to clock in 5 minutes, you know? Like, it's just all how, like, we fucking handle shit at the end of the day.
I mean, that's true. I was just thinking about it today because of certain things that were going on. There's a lot going on, right? And I was like, you know, it really is going to be okay. Like, regardless of these outcomes or whatever, it's really going to be okay. And if I act like it's going to be okay, then it really will be okay.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is, like, sometimes I think in the lawyer world, like, people want a lawyer that's not like, it's going to be okay. They want a lawyer to be like, hey, where's that shit? We got to get this on time. And blah, 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 blah,
right.
And I think that is part of the whatever a little bit. But if you're not careful and you stay in that world for a long period of time throughout the day, then when you get into traffic or you're on the way to the show or whatever it is, you take that also with you, in which case I can say, like, I was thinking about it today, it's really my choice to be bothered or not bothered by anything.
Yep. Yes, it is. 100%.
Right?
100%.
Right?
It is your choice. You know what? What also resonates too with me is like this. I used to be the guy in my in not in life so much, but more in my workspace in my career, that when the questions were coming down, how, what, why, what, I had to answer.
Right.
Like, I couldn't ever say, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have to. The pressure was on me
Right.
at all times.
Right.
Big order. Okay, what do you? Okay, the answer. Why did this order? And I remember when I got to a point where I was like, somebody older than me told me, you can't possibly have the right answer all the time. It's not your job to have the solution to answer for everything. And he was like, once in a while, like, maybe you don't have, what's the matter with saying you don't know? Right? And I remember how freeing that was. I remember it was somebody, and it was somewhere, it was Hilfiger. Hilfiger. We're working with it. He asked me some shit, and I was just
that
like,
guy.
yeah, I don't think I can, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. I mean, usually I'm the guy that can do anything. And
Right. It's an opportunity.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you on that one, you know? And I remember how freeing it was, and it allowed me to start being able to not put myself at this place where I got to have all the answers. I don't know why I said all this just now, but it was like another piece of like letting go of something, maybe either people pleasing or trying to be something other than just my authentic self.
I think
know?
for me, some of that for me comes from how I was raised with my dad, to have an answer that would get me out of the heat when the pressure was on. So I definitely identify with having that feeling. But then I also identify with the concept that the way that I think, based on the way that, you know, lately I've really been thinking a lot about it, which is that I need to have way more respect for the uniqueness of the way my mind works. It might not always be right, but the way that it works, or the way that I start working on problems and thinking about certain things or whatever, it may not be right, but it's creative. And I need to give space for that. And it does sometimes upset certain things that are done in the law or wherever it is. And it does sometimes scare people a little bit, where I'm able to, whatever it is. I was talking to Darren, and I was talking about a couple of different things that I was doing, and he's just like, how do you have the time to read all those things? Right? And I explained to him, it's like 30 to 40 years of not only just reading, but learning how to read better and practicing and doing all that on my own, to the point now where I've got a routine down even for that. And that's something that, you know, I don't think I make enough space for that for me. I don't know what good it is in the sense of, you know, is it going to put more bread on the table or whatever?
What, reading?
Yeah, I don't. For me, genuinely, it's almost an activity that's like exercising or whatever. Like some of the stuff that I read, I'm just reading it so that it goes into the bank somewhere and does something, but I don't know what the fuck it's going to be.
You're feeding your fucking computer mind, though.
I'm definitely feeding the mind, and I'm definitely trying to see other experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know that I make enough space for that, and I'm trying to think about, or even just open myself up to, like, what does that mean? What's it gonna look like to really give into it? What is that?
I think having those thoughts and those ideas is like the first step to finding that answer, whatever that answer may be. And there might not be like just one answer or a clear-cut answer, you know, but you know, inside your true you, like they'll let you know, like he will let you know, like, yeah, you're right on point with this thought, or whatever juncture you were at before, like when you figured out or you found a plan that worked for you at that time. I mean, your body lets you know, like for me, man, like my like the hairs on my arms and my legs will stand up, like, and it's hot as fuck. It's California, it's summer, it's hot, but like I'll get chills when I'm having thoughts and ideas of ways that I could either improve or how I can be like a better brother, a better son, a better friend, fucking better partner. Like instinctually, the person inside of me, my true self, whatever you want to call it, like he always responds back now. Like, yes, this is it. Like it's more than just like a intuition that I have. Like, I don't know. It's crazy to even like be saying this right now, just because my life used to just be so like black and white, like right and wrong, you know? And now it's like I've given myself like that freedom to like make mistakes, and really those mistakes aren't mistakes because I'm learning from them,
right?
You know, and as long as I'm learning from it, I mean, it's a fucking win, because I'm not going to make that same mistake again. But you know, I gone through, or I went through whatever I needed to go through, to where when it does pop back up, because life is always going to give you the same test until you pass that shit. Life is always going to give you the same fucking test. If you have fucking road rage, and I can tell you from myself, if you have road rage, I promise you, every time you get behind a wheel, there's going to be 15 fucking semi trucks. You're going to run into every red light. You're going to run into that person who has nothing to do. They're driving their fucking Tesla and they're on their phone. That's always going to happen until you master yourself. And then you're just like, all right, now it's time for like the next lesson. Now it's time for like the next shit to fucking learn. And the driving shit, I'm still working on that type of shit. And
but the inner Zo is saying it's time to pick up the rock.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean,
I'm gonna start just chucking those shits at cars, like when they're slowing me down.
Speedball sliders, right?
Yeah, that's
slider
something that
right
happened.
into a fucking
But not
Prius.
those Teslas though, because those shits have cameras all around. That's how you get caught up.
When you go in, are you gonna go in for tryouts or like how does it work?
I've kind of what Lucky was saying. I have no fucking idea. I have a couple of phone numbers. I have somebody like on Instagram that like I'm talking to that I know has like connections back into the baseball world. I'm really not even like stressing it.
Right.
Like I just know that whatever's for me is already going to be. Whether it's baseball or not, don't know. Honestly, don't really care.
What's your favorite part of baseball that doesn't involve the actual ball itself and stuff? Like, is it the smell of the grass?
Man, I just love it because like it reminds me of being with my grandpa. Like that guy right there is hands down like my best friend. Like no question. When my dad, transitioned over, like that man stepped in, and that was like the most solid person, that I've ever known in my entire life. And like when I'm out there, like I feel him with me. Like I could hear him. There's just so many memories that just like run through my head of just like shit that we used to do, man. Like driving out to the valley every fucking Tuesday and Thursday in the middle of traffic in a fucking 72 Cadillac Eldorado, like this is like 2005 shit. And we're fucking jackknifing on the fucking freeway because that car is like traction and all that shit is just, it's 1972 and we're driving that shit in 2005. Driving out to Chino, him like yelling from the stands while I'm on the mound and me like arguing with him middle of the game, mind you. It just takes me back to like a time where I guess like shit was just easier, like I was just a young fucking naive kid. Like all I wanted to do was like play at the fucking Little League World Series. Like that was my goal. I want to play the College World Series, like that type of shit is what I guess I've like refound within myself, or wherever I found it. Like I found that shit.
Right.
What do you think of that?
I'm letting it hang. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
For me, man, like I feel like baseball is one of those sports that has a lot of interesting and very specific rituals for each individual that's playing it. And, fuck, if I had that, I would cherish it, what you have, Zo. The sense of family, the sense of grandfatherness, the sense of those memories. And that's part of, some sort of ritualized competition with yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful.
Baseball is very superstitious, man. From
I love that.
wearing the same socks to doing the same shit in between pitches.
Fucking love that.
I mean, like I have my own little things that I do all the time. Like I couldn't tell you why
Don't even worry
I
about
do
it.
them, but it's just like that's just what kind of like gets me locked in. But just this whole process within the past like 8 months to a year, man, like who I was, where I was, what I was doing, who I was around, what I was putting in my mind, in my body, and all that type of shit. Like everything that needed to be removed was removed, and some of it was real my own self-realization. Like this person doesn't serve me anymore. I've had people fucking X themselves out of like my life, you know what I mean? And then I've also had life just fucking filter shit out, like shit happens for a reason. And like I truly believe that things do happen for a reason, and it's always for the best, it's when you start to like try and force that puzzle piece back into your life. It's just like that's where you really start to find yourself like in some trouble. Like whatever it may be, big or small, it's just not for you. And if you're just aware of like what the fuck is going on around you, like there will be signs telling you like this ain't it, this ain't it, this ain't it. And you know, some people listen to it and others don't. And sometimes people are in some shit to where those big lessons that they should have learned end up, you know, could cost them their family, their life, their freedom, their career, their fucking sanity, like their sense of self. Like it's it could get real fucking tricky real fast, you know. So I see it. If I feel something like this ain't it for me, I'm out. Straight up.
Yeah, if it ain't for you and it ain't it, bro, it lets you know.
Quick.
You know?
Quick.
And I think the struggle is trying to like fit that square into a circle, you know, when you know it doesn't. And man, it takes courage to step away or you know, to be able to let it go or move past it and be okay with, you know, that's just not for me. Sometimes that's takes a lot of courage. And
It does.
damn, dude, I'm so glad to have you here in this mindset. You've had me definitely rethink some things in my life just by talking with you, and inspired me some this evening.
Yep,
I
me too.
appreciate that.
Me too.
You know,
I appreciate
fuck,
that,
man.
What about you,
Fucking
Blue Eyes?
Zo.
Man, I thought Zoe was gonna come in here. We were gonna fucking laugh and all that other
Yeah.
shit.
We did
pull
in the
each other's
beginning.
dicks
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
all that other shit. But
I mean, we
It
could
was
do
a
that.
serious
I
conversation. That was great.
I could do it. I could do it whenever.
No,
we,
hey,
He's got it.
it's
have
all
like a real.
Zo, his
it's all
pants
about
are off right now.
versatility, man. You got to come in here and inspire and motivate people, because you know sometimes when you come to the Hard Luck Show, it's got to be about motivation. Sometimes it's got to be about laughing. Sometimes it's got to be about learning, but sometimes it's got to be about motivation too.
Hell yeah.
We got to switch it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And keep people, you know, guessing about what's coming next. That's
Yeah,
it.
and keeping people on their toes and pushing
Right.
to do better.
Somebody out there needed to hear this.
Yeah,
1000%.
I think
I
a
love
number of
that.
people. I know I needed to hear.
I was just gonna say I needed to hear it. Somebody right
So-
here needed to hear this.
Look, we had a talk on the phone the other day, and I was like, I need you to come in and talk about exactly what we talked about tonight. And that's what I needed to hear.
Right.
And showing up, man, and giving yourself a chance and living a fucking life
And loving yourself.
and loving yourself.
You gotta love yourself. Man.
Love yourself.
Love
Zo.
yourself, Blue Eyes.
Thank you, bro, for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Man,
brother.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all. You already know I'm available to y'all 24/7.
Do you need to plug anything? People can find you, anything like that?
Oh, I mean, I got IG Aloncito. Shit, that's really all about that. That's all about like all I got, you know. Like I'm not really big onto socials like I was before. Not like I ever was, but I don't know. I try and stay off of that shit. It's real toxic. I found that shit fucked with my brain more than it made me feel good. So I fuck with it to keep in contact with certain people and to like keep up on a few things. But you know, for the most part, you'll just see me posting selfies and shirtless pics at this
Yeah.
I mean, that's
throwing
what the
ball
people
around.
want. That's what the people
That's
want.
what the
Alonzito, you
people
want to know
want.
how to throw a baseball? Alonzito.
Enough with the spirituality. Take your shirt off, Zo.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up.
Love yourself.
I'll show you church.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
What you got, partner?
I got Ovandabone LLP, American Indian and Chapinas, representing you in court, scaring the establishment and getting you money.
Yeah.
Woo wee. It is.
Whoa, wait.
Woo wee. Sean at movemental.media for all your audio and podcasting needs. Don't forget. If you forgot, don't forget.
Don't forget.
Please don't forget. www.hardluckshow.com.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Right.
It's time for you to go on that website and have a little fun. Go to the Mercado section.
right.
Mercado.
Go to the Mercado.
And check us out on Gumroad. That's hls.gumroad.com.
Proto episodes.
There's some free episodes on there. Go to the post tab. Go to we got audiobooks. We got Art of War.
Art of War.
You hear that little duet right there?
Yeah.
Art of War.
Art of War.
We got proto episodes. We got all kinds of shit. So go check us out, please. Check us out on YouTube.
Check us out on YouTube Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're on YouTube now. You can listen to us and you can watch us and listen to us.
Right.
www.supermaxhardware.com. Cop some summer shit.
Wait, is this episode about to be on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, this is all
Take
film.
your shirt off.
Okay, no,
we
no,
need
no,
some
relax,
subscribers.
And
Give them some eye candy.
Not yet.
at
not yet.
Cookies
We're not there yet.
cookiessf.com. You want to cop some fucking dope gear,
Yeah.
or you need some flour, some
Right.
bomb flour. And at Vibes Papers, vibespapers.com. And that's what I got for you guys now. Tune in, check in, and stay connected to the Hard Luck Show. We're out here.
And just for the listeners' enjoyment, the drill sergeant inside Zo's head, he let us record it, and this is what it sounds like.
I said, put your toes on the edge of the chalk line, you slimy worm. 10, hut! I don't believe what I'm seeing. Where you been all your lives? At an orgy? Listening to Mick Jagger music and bad-mouthing your country, I'll bet. You better stop eyeballing me, boy. You're not worthy enough to look your superiors in the eye. Use your peripheral vision. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, every time I say understand, I want the whole group to say, yes, sir. Understand? Yes, sir. Understand? Yes, sir. Now, I know why most of you are here. We're not stupid. Before you get to sell what we teach you over at United Airlines, you got to give the Navy 6 years of your life, sweet pea. Lots of things can happen in 6 years. Another war can come up in 6 years. And if you're too peaceful a person to dump napalm on the enemy village where there might be women and children, I'm gonna find that out. Understand? Yes, sir. Understand?